Welcome to the Sunday service of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Northfield. I am Sue Coleman, and I have been a member of this fellowship for 2 years. I feel blessed to be a part of this service today, which I think everyone's going to find particularly meaningful. UUFN is an inclusive community that nurtures spiritual and intellectual growth and fosters ethical and social responsibility. I want to extend a warm welcome to everyone here in the sanctuary and all those gathered online today. We are mindful that we gather today with different needs. Whatever brings you here, you are invited to come as you are and take what feeds you. If you are a visitor, either in person or online, we are glad you are with us, and we invite you to stay after the service to get acquainted. We welcome your questions and look forward to getting to know you. And I have a couple of visitors here today. If you haven't had a chance to meet them, I have my family, Connie and Phil Jones from Montana, sitting behind Brenda. We have a few announcements to share before we begin the service. If you haven't already, the Social Justice team is asking you to complete the Social Justice Interest Survey regarding emerging initiatives in the areas of racial justice, climate justice, and democracy. Check your email for a link to the survey sent out by Janet Scannell. Paper copies are on the table near the name tags at the back of the sanctuary. The survey will close on Monday, December 12th, so tomorrow. Let either Liz or Janet know if you have any questions or issues with the survey. Next Sunday, we'll celebrate the winter solstice with winter solstice and other holiday celebrations of light, led by Nita Wolf and Janet Scannell. This service will highlight holiday traditions that help us hold the light within us and are also celebrated around the world. This is a multi-generational service, so invite family and friends of all ages. Also plan on joining us at 4 p.m. on Christmas Eve for our service, Star of Wonder. We'll tell an ancient story in new ways during this service, led by our own Reverend Sara. No matter our theology, we can experience reverence, awe, and wonder as we look to the stars and follow their light to new truths. Again, welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Northfield.
Good morning, everyone. I am the Reverend Sara Smalley, minister of UUFN. I am home today, still recovering from foot surgery. It's going fine. It's just very slow. And it's so good to be together with you all this morning. Our opening words are, Our Lives Intersect and Intertwine by Tanya Marquez. It is a wonder and a mystery that our paths have crossed, that in the immensity of time, in the vastness of space, we coincide here. I am in awe at the ways in which our lives intersect and intertwine, at the beauty we create when we gather. May our coming together make us more compassionate, more just, more caring, and more loving. May our hearts and minds be open to this offering. I am so glad you are here. Each one of you matters as we create this sacred space together. Let us worship. Let us marvel at the miracle of being here right now and the mystery that has brought us together.
Each Sunday, we bring the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith to life together. As we light our chalice, we kindle the power of community and illuminate a world that we feel called upon to serve with love. We join together in lighting our chalice with the words on the screen. Let us open our eyes to see what is beautiful. Let us open our minds to learn what is true. Let us open our hearts to love one another. Please rise in body or spirit for our opening hymn, number 347, Gather the Spirit. And it's in the gray hymnal. We now move into a time of centering, using the chalice flame to light our candles of compassion. We light a candle for Ukraine to show our support for peace in their region. Working for a more harmonious, just, and merciful world requires an active commitment to the fullness of life for our neighbors around the world, no matter where they are. We know too that the details of our daily lives are sacred and important. We now light a candle for all the simple joys that are sustaining us. And we light another candle in honor of the sorrows and hardships we may be carrying.
With these candles lit and the joys and sorrows of our lives present, let us come more fully into this moment and into the presence of the Holy that lives between us. This is a complicated time of year for many of us. Grief, loneliness, longing are our companions, at least as much as merriment and tidings of joy. All of who you are is welcome here now. Allow yourself an unhurried, unclenched breath. Pause now to open to the mysteries of life and love as we breathe together with these companions and enter into a time of shared silence. In the quiet of this moment, the words of our hearts by Lynn Cox. Making room for all that is. Spirit of life, ancestor of the stars and sun, you who embrace the vastness of space and us along with it, be with us today. Hold us in our worry, our exhaustion, our grief. Keep us close as we sit with our truth, whatever that may be. Lead us to rest in the quiet, to find solace and renewal in this time of shifting light and dark. Spirit of life, whose arms open with the spinning galaxies, help us to make room as you do for all that is. Open our hearts to our loved ones, our neighbors, the beings with whom we share this planet. Lead us to reach out to others in compassion. Turn us towards one another in mercy, right relationship, and reconciliation. Spirit of life, you have seen the rising and setting of suns, of seasons, of civilizations. Remind us all that we have learned from the history of the world and from our own histories. Give us the courage to face our mistakes and repair them whenever possible. Help us understand our interdependence, our gravitational relatedness with all of the other spinning lives around us, and lead us to treat those relationships with care. In this space, filled with the people among us who shine like stars, in this space, filled with the sparkle of love and care, we give thanks for this moment to be together. May our senses be open to the beauty of this day, this season, this world. Blessed be, and amen.
This month's worship theme is wonder. Those who study psychology have found that awe and wonder inspire generosity. It's noted that people with a sense of awe and wonder have an expanded sense of what is possible and let go of limiting beliefs. As a result, they are more generous with others. Awe and wonder remind them that abundance is available to all. Our weekly offering reminds us of the wonder of generosity. This month's Share the Plate recipient is the Mobile Home Assistance Fund. Community Action Center, together with Healthy Community Initiative and the Northfield Racial and Ethnic Equity Coalition, have created a designated fund for mobile home repairs, rehabilitation costs, and lot rent assistance across Rice County. For those of us living in Northfield, this fund will help our neighbors at Viking Terrace who have been facing significant hardships since Viking Terrace was bought by a new ownership company. You may contribute by putting cash or a check made out to UUFN with offering basket on the memo line in the basket, or you may contribute online by going to our website, uunorthfield.org, clicking on the yellow donate button on the right-hand column, and then selecting Share the Plate. As always, thank you for giving as you are able.
As Sue mentioned, today we continue this month's theme of the Path of Wonder. The poet Mary Oliver teaches this as her instructions for living a life. Pay attention, be astonished, tell about it. I've preached about this before. I have a sticker of it on my laptop, and I keep coming back to it as the most simple and the most challenging and the most profound instructions for living a life. First, pay attention. Wonder shakes us to awareness. The etymology of the word wonder is the verb to magnify. Wherever you're sitting right now, there's probably at least some familiar elements, countless details you take for granted. But when we pay attention, what is present in the moment is magnified. This can be vulnerable. What if what is present in this moment is grief, which is a wonder as well? For it's not just the awe of a sunset, it's being brought to your knees by love, by beauty, by loss, and by healing and the rawness of this life. Right now, wherever you are, there is also something our senses can connect with. The texture of a knit scarf, the line of brown branches against the sky outside, the chalice flame alive in the sanctuary. Find something right now that your senses can connect with and be astonished. For the chalice flame doesn't just burn, it calls our own hearts to more aliveness. And then the poet's final instructions for living a life. Pay attention, be astonished, tell about it. As I thought about today's service, it did not feel right to me to write a sermon and have you all sit back and listen in an intellectual discourse about wonder. Part of the rebellion of living a life guided by wonder is telling about it, of not trying to live cool and detached, but giving ourselves over to caring about something so deeply you want to say out loud, "This astonishes me." So I decided to make this service of wonder in 3 parts: wonder within, wonder among, and wonder beyond. We will explore the wonder of being alive in our bodies, the wonder of art and science and community among us, and finally, moments of wonder beyond, the wonder of starry skies and mysteries too vast to comprehend. Sue and I will bring us into each part with a few readings and thoughts. There will be a few moments for silent reflection and memory, followed by a time for sharing. You do not have to share. I know for some of you that would make you so nervous you would not be able to enjoy the service, and that's okay. And it's also okay to take the risk of sharing if you like. We'll have a handheld microphone in the sanctuary that I think Paul or someone will be passed. And those on Zoom can type their answers into chat, and I will read those out loud after a few people in the sanctuary have shared. So we are aware of how technology will work in this experience we create together. Sue and I hope that you will leave today's service more aware of wonder in your life and that of others, times when you come alive with astonishment, times when our attention and imaginations are heightened, when we enter into mystery. So let us start with the wonder within, the wonder of being alive in our bodies. Sue will start us off by reading the poem Boundaries by Lynn Unger.
The universe does not revolve around you. The stars and planets spinning through the ballroom of space dance with one another quite outside of your small life. You cannot hold gravity or seasons. Even air and water inevitably evade your grasp. Why not then let go? You could move through time like a shark through water, neither restless nor ceasing, absorbed in and absorbing the native element. Why pretend you can do otherwise? The world comes in at every pore, mixes in your blood before breath releases you into the world again. Did you think the fragile boundary of your skin could build a wall? Listen. Every molecule is humming its particular pitch. Of course you are a symphony. Whose tune do you think the planets are singing as they dance? And another reading about the wonder of being alive in our bodies, a story titled The Other 7 Wonders, written by Joy Garrison Wasson. A group of students were asked to list what they thought were the present 7 wonders of the world. Though there were some disagreements, the following received the most votes: Egypt's Great Pyramids, Taj Mahal, Grand Canyon, Panama Canal, Empire State Building, St. Peter's Basilica, China's Great Wall. While gathering the votes, the teacher noted that one student had not finished her paper. So she asked the girl if she was having trouble with her list. The girl replied, "Yes, a little. I couldn't quite make up my mind because there were so many." The teacher said, "Well, tell us what you have, and maybe we can help." The girl hesitated, then read, "I think the 7 wonders of the world are to see, to hear, to touch, to feel, to taste, to smell, to laugh, to love." The room was so quiet, you could have heard a pin drop. The things we overlook as simple and ordinary and that we take for granted are truly wondrous.
The world is full of magic things, waiting patiently for our senses to grow sharper, says W.B. Yeats. One of the lessons of the mythology of Christmas is that this is the season where wonder is incarnate, divinity is embodied. What is wonderful, full of wonder about your own embodied life? Let's take a moment to sit with the thought of our miraculous bodies. I'm curious about your thoughts on the wonder of our bodies and being alive. Who would like to share briefly your thoughts or a brief story?
I will, there I am. I will begin just to give you some idea. This is the microphone, and this is where it needs to be, which is very close to your mouth. So, and I would encourage you to stand when you share, but keep the microphone here. What? Exactly. What? So let me just begin by sharing the depth of my feeling of the energy that moves within me, particularly in my heart, as I look out at you and feel the warmth of this community. It is within me as well. Who would like to share? Barbara.
I feel that everyone can have healing inside of them and share that with anyone else. It's all about intention.
Moving toward Larry Vorwerk.
I would just like to share the wonder of nature. Just looking at the poinsettias up front there, the red is a natural color, but yet man had manipulated the varieties into many different types, like the yellow and red ones. One time I went to a workshop on orchids, and there's roughly 30,000 different species of orchids in the world, and yet there's over 100,000 varieties that men have created by manipulating the DNA of those and genes of those plants. And all of nature is a wonder in itself.
We all have seen how beautiful the poinsettias are in the front of the church. But the wonder to me this morning was I noticed the one right next to Sue with the gold wrapping, and how beautiful and how gorgeous it stands out all by itself, even amidst all the competition of the poinsettia. And the wonder for me was that I didn't notice it last week.
On my days when I'm home alone, I tend early in the day to be kind of focused on the various tasks and things that I want to get done. And then later comes the reading time. Friday, my task was to prepare a big pot of chili for some guests that were coming for dinner. So I put on some Christmas music and I got started with chopping the onions. And I looked out and it was snowing beautifully outside. And that just stopped me. You can just go about it, but sometimes there's just something, it's like, oh, I just need to look at this snow right now.
Moving across the room, Beth Goodell has something to share.
I am thinking about the wonder of the passage of time in human life, also known as aging. This weekend has brought us, my wife and I, into contact with people we've known for 20 years, that being our children, people we've known for 30 years and up to 50 years. And we're the same, but we're not the same. We're the same bodied consciousness or soul, but we've changed so much over time, and yet the love has been continuous, and that's just a wonder to me.
Sara, would you like to take over then?
Thank you all. I will share a couple comments on chat here on Zoom. Connie and Jeff shared, whenever I hear Sunshine on My Shoulder by John Denver, I sing at the top of my lungs. Right now, I am sitting washed in sunshine from our south windows. It makes me happy. It is also why we are not on video. I love being fully embodied. Becky shares, laughter and smiles are contagious. And Lois shares, I think modern medicine, with all its unknown implications, is still a wonder of human brains interacting with discovery. Gorgeous. And the most beautiful transition between the wonder within and the wonder among will move into our next section. Wonder within moves to wonder among, knowing there are no distinctions between these, but rather the way wonder moves through the world. I'm thinking with wonder among of all the things we create individually and together, putting the wonder we feel within out into the world. Music, art, poetry as expressions of wonder. Science also lives within wonder, curiosity, hypotheses, possibilities, seeking patterns, and solving mysteries of how the world works. Wonder among us also creates community and justice. Mary Oliver speaks of the wonder of connection, of poetry, of community in her poem, Mysteries, Yes. Sue?
Truly, we live with mysteries too marvelous to be understood. How grass can be nourishing in the mouths of lambs? How rivers and stones are forever in allegiance with gravity, while we ourselves dream of rising? How two hands touch, and the bonds will never be broken? How people come from delight or the scars of damage to the comfort of a poem? Let me keep my distance always from those who think that they have all the answers. Let me keep company always with those who say, look, and laugh in astonishment and bow their heads.
The wonder among is what moves us out of our comfort zone and into relationship with the world. It inspires us to create. When have you felt this wonder? Imagine the path of wonder that you have been traveling throughout your life. If you look around on your path, we'll look up in the next section, but if you look around your own path of wonder, what has called your attention over and over again? Where do you know wonder among? The wonder that happens between you and the world. Maybe it's music or science or justice, a time when you felt the wonder within called forth into the world, or the wonder in the world calling forth your wonder within.
Who would like to?
Is anyone willing to share? Yep, thanks.
We'll move back here. Susie?
I'm thinking of the wonder of language and our ability to express our thoughts and share. I think it was in the book Sapiens, they talked about one of the big differences between humankind and animals and other creatures is we have that ability. Animals can share, basic warning signals, but we can actually put into words and come up with expressing our feelings and getting to know one another and sharing our dreams. And I just think language is pretty amazing.
Okay, we're gonna give this man a chance.
I'm thinking, the wonder of the earth, the wonder of nature. Specifically come to mind, I can remember a point this past summer, I was with Mary up at Mallard Island, and sitting at the highest point of the island looking out over the lake, and this beautiful greenery of the island also. Just, I felt the power, I felt the wonder, I felt the awareness, and to me it's just a spiritual thing.
Tell me if I go on too long. Okay. I was going to do this the other way around, but since we're going from inner to outer, I'll try and do this the other way. To pay attention is wonderful, and it got me thinking, how do we pay attention? And humans are very visually oriented. I am very visually oriented. So I saw, where is that information coming from right now? It's coming from electricity going through a high voltage plasma into the fluorescents and the lights above us. It's coming directly from electricity through the magic of solid state electronics in the LEDs here and there. And it's coming from the candles. It's coming actually from the soot in the candles. You don't get that much light without the dirt of the soot. It's the heat of the soot. And there may be some incandescence in here, right? Just some plain old heat. And there are 5 windows. I'm seeing all this through my eyes, but I'm also feeling heat through my skin. And it can travel, this information is traveling as fast to me as it possibly can. Nothing can go faster. And through all of the windows, each window, because light is more or less straight, each window is a funnel of information from the outside. And most of that light is coming from the sun, which is about 9 minutes away. And before that, months to get to the surface because it's so dense from the fusion. And it's just all, and it's not just that, right? Because if you think about the heat, I am getting light directly from each one of you in this room, from your skin to mine. And probably a couple of photons that I can see too, because of the craziness of atomic energy levels. And it's just all so crazily wonderful. And to go further out, right up to the sun, that is how we see most of the universe, is through this light, farther and farther out. And we see things and learn things like we were made. Probably most of what makes us up is not only stardust, but one particular collision between a couple of neutron stars about 4 light years away, quite a long time ago. It is amazing.
Well, I think there's wonder and creativity and imagination. And it was a wonder to me that during the pandemic, I thrived. I became an artist. And I didn't know that was in me. I was comparing myself to my husband, who's a great oil painter, and I came up with color and design. And also that's the way I handle winters, because we can't leave here during the winter due to having property and animals. And so I create, and I love it. And I allowed myself last year to say for the first time that I'm an artist. So here we go. I look forward to other creative activities and also meeting your ideas with imagination and creativity in all ways.
This year especially, I am thinking of the wonder of being an organ donor. It's a very simple process. All you have to do is check a box, and your driver's license says, if I am brain dead, give my organs to somebody who needs them. And it's so simple, and yet I think it's one of the most selfless things somebody can do, and it's one of the best things. And I think that the fact that we have the science for that to happen, and the fact that we have the goodness of people for that to happen, means that my aunt is still alive 10 years after her lung transplant. And she got shirts after that lung transplant that said, the greatest hero I ever knew was the person who gave my aunt her lungs. And I am blown away by anyone who checks that box and says, yes, I will give life to someone when I no longer need these organs. So that's amazing to me.
One more.
Good morning, people, fellow sentient beings, planetary travelers. I'm new to the community, just having moved just a couple of houses down, called the Mahachik House, and I've been here now for about a year, and I'm starting what I would say is a new life, because I moved here from what I call the East, out there, that near that big ocean called the Atlantic, place called New York, New Jersey. And I lived there for 40 years after living in Minnesota for 30 years and receiving my education at several schools here in Minnesota. And at the point when I moved, deciding that I really needed wider horizons for my life. And I felt that I needed to move east in order to find that. And I did. I went to Rutgers University, met my wife at one of the classes that I was teaching. And about, maybe a year or so later, we married. And then about 9 years later, we had a son. And we were married for 32 years until the big C, cancer, claimed her. But it's okay, because these things happen on a daily basis to people all the time. And from those moments and from those moments of difficulty, grief, and struggle comes always what I'll say is the wonder of new opportunity and possibility for your life. And because of that, I'm here today speaking to you and enjoying your company and enjoying the message that's being given today, and enjoying what I will call the wonder of the communal vibration. Thank you.
Okay, let's go back to Sara.
Thank you all. I'm so grateful for those tender reflections on life and death and beauty and trees and all of it, and language. Joanne makes the point in chat that animal languages have also been documented, which is a wonder as well in this incredible universe. Our third way to think about this, our third and final theme, the wonder beyond. We are individual bodies, wonder incarnate. We create wonder among and through us, through art and music and community. And we are stardust, a particular type of stardust. I love that. We live and grieve and love among incomprehensible vastness, wonder on a cosmic scale. How can we possibly respond to this unimaginable beauty? Victoria Safford asked this question in her piece, What Song?, which Sue will share now.
What if there were a universe, a cosmos, that began in shining darkness, out of nothing, out of fire, out of a single silent breath? And into it came billions and billions of stars, stars beyond imagining. And near one of them, a world, a blue-green world so beautiful that learned clergymen could not even speak about it cogently. And brilliant scientists, in trying to describe it, began to sound like poets. What if there were a universe in which a world was born out of a smallish star? And into that world, at some point, flew red-winged blackbirds. And into it swam blue whales. And into it came crocuses and wind to lift the tiniest hairs on naked arms in spring when you run out to the mailbox. And into it, at some point, came onions out of soil, and came Mount Everest, and also the coyote we've been seeing in the woods about a mile from here, just after sunrise in these mornings when the moon is full. Into that world came animals and elements and plants and imagination, the mind and the mind's eye. If such a universe existed and you noticed it, what would you do? What song would come out of your mouth? What prayer? What praises? What sacred offering? What whirling dance? What religion? And what reverential gesture would you make to greet that world every single day that you were in it?
Of course, you are a symphony, the first reading today stated. Of course, you are a symphony. Whose tune do you think the planets are singing as they dance? We now ask, what song do you sing in return? How do you respond to this unimaginably beautiful universe? Are a few of you willing to share a story or a reflection on what brings you to a place of awe and wonder about being alive in this vast universe, a moment when you felt that sense, or any other thoughts you have about wonder generally, particularly if someone has something that they haven't shared yet that they would like to. We'll pause for that.
Well, what comes
Stories
to my
or
mind? Okay. What comes to my mind every morning that I fling back the curtains and look out at where I live is thank you, thank you, thank you. The wonder of open horizons, which somebody else referred to, the beauty of the sunrise, the sparkling of the water when it's not frozen, and the sounds of massive numbers of geese this morning, Canadian geese flying over. So I don't know what got them rolling, but that was beautiful as well.
Of course, those could be the Carleton geese, who never leave, but still get up there and run around.
Thank you, everyone, for being so welcoming to my wife and I here this morning. We're Connie and Phil Jones from Montana. I have to share this extraordinary experience from this first week of October this year. As many of you might know, there was a quite remarkable event that took place in the Yellowstone River Valley in Wyoming and Montana this year. How many of you know? A 500-year flood struck the Yellowstone River Valley. So my son, 43 years old, and I communicated about this immediately, and we said, we both had exactly the same thought. We have to go. We've got to get our kayaks over there and somehow figure out how to get on that river and see the result of it, the result of the 500-year flood, because frankly, it's never going to happen again in our lifetime, right? No way. So we were standing at this spot beneath this extraordinary landform called the Scott Creek Bluffs. There's these red sandstone bluffs that almost no one knows about and very few people have seen. And we were talking about the antiquity of this place, the last free-flowing river in the lower 48 states, in the North American continent. And I said, Scott, he's named after these cliffs, by the way. I said, Scott, it's possible here to find the remains of ancient life forms that lived at the time when the first human beings arrived on this continent. And no sooner had I said it, as the sun rose over the bluffs, and I looked down, and it looked like something that looked like the color of petrified bone lying in the river sand. And I said, look, Scott, and he couldn't see it. I walked over to it, and the closer I got to it, then it became clear to him. There was an ancient bone lying in the sand, and he picked it up, and it was a vertebrae of a paleo bison that lived 10,000 years ago. This archaeological proof that human beings were in the Yellowstone River Valley 13,000 years ago. So for that to occur at that moment, just after this conversation, both of us felt this interconnectivity of ancient, past, present, and of course the future all coalesced into one. And the wonder, the awe, the energy of that moment, I'm still feeling it. That was the first week of October, and I feel it as strong today as I did that moment. I just had to share that with you.
Young lady.
Not such a young lady.
Well, the wonder to me is that I'm here. I'm still alive. Some of you may not know, but in 1978, on October 1st, Willis and I were in a catastrophic wreck in which the other people were actually killed, and it's a wonder that we weren't. It made quite a mess of both of us, but like I said, it's a wonder to me that I'm still here and hopefully making some difference in a few lives, I hope. Anyway, I love all of you, and I'm so happy to be here.
We are more than overjoyed to have you with us.
Amen to that, Brent. Oh, one more? All right.
Just one.
I can't see.
Maybe. The wonder of compassion. The wonder of showing compassion to other people, but also accepting it from others, especially when you need it, can be so hard. Pride and fear of vulnerability can be very powerful and can keep us down, but the wonder of showing and accepting compassion is something that's very human and pivotal to all of us. And so often we try to shake it off, and it's so important that we accept it, especially this time of year when we're thinking about being with our families and with others who struggle, so, including ourselves.
Back to you, Sara.
Amen to that. Beautiful. Thank you. Lois shares, "Ode to Joy never fails to stir my heart and mind." And Joanne shares, "A whalebone fossil, where the animal had lived on what we now know as dry land. I got it at the geology department auction at Humboldt State University." Gorgeous. Thank you all for sharing your stories, for telling about it. Of course, I invite you to continue to think about and share these sorts of stories as they come to you. Rabbi Abraham Joshua Herschel says, "Our goal should be to live life in radical amazement. Get up in the morning and look at the world in a way that takes nothing for granted. Everything is phenomenal. Everything is incredible. Never treat life casually. To be spiritual is to be amazed." End quote. This is the heart of the spiritual journey. To be open enough to be amazed, shaken to awareness by the beauty and the pain of this world. Pay attention, be astonished, and then tell about it. Don't let wonder hole up within you to wither and die. Let it in to change you, and let it out to change the world. And of course, our closing hymn that we can sing and sway along to is Blue Boat Home. Let's sing together number 1064 in the Teal hymnal, Blue Boat Home.
Standing
song gets me every time. My kids were laughing at me that I was crying just when I'd like cut and pasted the lyrics, because just reading those lyrics just does something to my heart. Thank you for singing that together. Our closing words. It is a wonder and a mystery that our paths have crossed, that in the immensity of time, in the vastness of space, we coincided here. As we go forth from this time where our paths have crossed, may the path of wonder open before you. May a life of wonder be yours. And may our paths cross again to share our astonishment at being alive in this hurting and beautiful world. For those in the sanctuary, I invite you to stand as you are able. Place your hands over your heart, hold the hand of a neighbor, or whatever is comfortable for you as we sing our final blessing.
Please join me as we extinguish our chalice. You will see the words on your screen. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Go in peace.
Just confirming we're off in the sanctuary. All right. I'm guessing the sanctuary can't hear us, or John will take care of it if they can. Hi, all.
Hello.
How are you feeling, Carol?
I'm almost back to normal.
Okay.
Still coughing sometimes.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Let's see, how many should we, do you all prefer to stay in one group, or we can do a couple of breakout rooms?
I think we're small enough to stay.
That's what I think too. All right. Excellent. How are y'all?
We're gonna